Hello and welcome to WLC 414 Module 12. This is a supplementary video that will only cover the object pronouns. The most conservative system of use with third-person pronouns, and here we're talking him, her, to her, basically, that's all we're talking about, is what we call the etymological use, and that is basically the original use. So in this use, we have lo for a masculine direct object, la for a feminine direct object. Dative is le either way. French speakers, that would be accusative le, masculine, accusative la, feminine, and dative lui. So the system is set up exactly like this uso etimológico in Spanish. What we know right away is that we have two forms with the same, two different functions with the same form. We have syncretism. So what are the two different functions? Well, one is dative masculine and one is dative feminine. And again, it works that way in French as well, but this does show some syncretism. However, we do have a distinction between the accusative and the dative case, but this distinction sacrifices the distinction of gender. And this is, again, the standard use of pronouns. Some examples. Lo veo y le hablo a él. So I see him and I speak to him. In French, that would be je le vois et je lui parle. La veo y le hablo a ella. I see her and I speak to her. Je la vois et je lui parle. So these are very similar in both languages. All right. Where we're going to find some differences are going to be in the third person singular pronouns. So one variant is called leísmo, and the only difference between what we just saw and this is that the accusative has become le. So let's go back here. We see that the accusative is lo. In leísmo, it's le. So the accusative is le, the dative is le in both cases. All right. Again, there is no gender distinction in the dative for the masculine. This is common in Spanish and Latin America. It is not considered substandard. It is considered perfectly acceptable. So basically, what is going on? Lo becomes le. So that's why I'm calling it to himism. So there is no him. There's just to him. And again, in French, that would be, both of them would be lui. Okay, so examples. Le veo y le hablo a él. So the first one takes a direct object pronoun, but we're using le because lo does not exist in the system. So I see literally to him, and I speak to him. In French, of course, that's not possible. You cannot have je lui vois. Voir takes a direct object. Et je lui parle. So it's ungrammatical in French, but it is perfectly grammatical in Spanish. This is considered standard. The Real Academia has decided that leísmo is as grammatical as the uso etimológico. It's not taught in schools, however, which is a topic we'll address next semester. All right, what else can you do? Well, we had the accusative la and the dative le in the uso etimológico, and this particular example, laísmo, we don't have a to her. We just have her, which I'm calling herism. So le becomes la. French lui becomes la. Okay, so gender is reflected in both cases. We have gender here. This is found only in Spain. This is considered substandard. Then we have loísmo, and it's the same thing, but in the masculine. So lo is being used as accusative and dative. We have gender. Again, this is found in Spain, so le becomes lo. In French, lui becomes le. And this is considered substandard, and I definitely would not teach either laísmo or loísmo. All right, let's see some examples. Le becomes lo. French lui becomes le. Lo veo y lo hablo, which for most speakers is completely ungrammatical. I see him and I speak him. So in French, je le vois et je le parle. So, why do we have all these variants in the Spanish pronominal system? Well, the source that Dr. Llorente and I argue for in our book is the personal a. We're having a word a that means two things. It means to, and it just marks a direct object that is a person or something dear to you. So, let's talk about the personal a. Veo a Pepe. It's a direct object. Ver, voir, but you have to use the personal a because Pepe is a person. Amo a Nueva York. Nueva York is very dear to me. I'm going to put the a in there. Quiero mucho a mi gatito. I love my cat a lot. Sometimes you find it to distinguish the subject from the object. El gato mordió al perro, for example. The personal a is not the dative preposition a. So, veo a Pepe, lo veo. Hablo a Pepe, le hablo. But you can already see the source of this variation. The source of the variation is personal a. The child hears a and is not sure which a it is. So that's why Dr. Llorente and I argue that the source of this variation is the personal a.